Good evening, team, and welcome to tonight's Fireside Chat. Tonight, we're delighted as we gather around the virtual fire to hear from Mr. Cory Boatwright. I first met Cory when I attended a breakout session this past January at the Student Veterans of America National Convention in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was thoroughly impressed with his presentation. I asked him to share some of those same insights tonight with you. He's an Air Force veteran with an MBA from UC Berkeley and is currently the head of military and veteran programs and partnerships at LinkedIn. In his current role, he's a senior corporate social responsibility and strategic partnerships professional, specializing in establishing and growing relationships to scale impact. Check out his LinkedIn profile if you'd like to learn more. And without further ado, and joining us tonight from Lake Oswego, Oregon, which is near Portland, for those of you that haven't lived in Oregon, I present Cory Boatwright.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate it. Yeah, I remember our conversation when you came up to me at the Student Veterans of America conference, and I was excited to be able to come and join you today and share the power of LinkedIn. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I do want to let you know that my presentations, I do this a little bit untraditionally, is that I'm going to share my presentation and leave it open like this, and then I'm going to flip between my presentation and my browser so that I can walk you through the different elements. But it's also said Air Force vet, spent 6 years in the Air Force. I started off as a military broadcaster. So if you've all seen Good Morning Vietnam, that was me in Korea. For a couple years, I ran our morning radio show. And the guest that I interviewed the most is our current Chief of Staff, General Brown. He was the base commander at Kunsan, South Korea, and now the Joint Chief of Staff, which is pretty incredible. But yeah, so I'm currently at LinkedIn, as you all know, and I go around and talk to military community members and help them get connected to opportunity via LinkedIn, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. Since we have a smaller group, just feel free to jump on in if you have any questions, but I'll pause throughout to make sure that we give time for any questions. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So the things that we're going to cover today is we're going to cover optimizing LinkedIn profile. We're going to cover building networks, and then LinkedIn Premium, which is one of our core offerings that we offer to the military community. If you haven't used that yet, I'll show you how to get it. And if you've already used it, then let us know. We can help get you another premium code. That's going to give you access to LinkedIn Learning and LinkedIn's interview prep tool. So if you don't remember anything else, just remember one thing, and that's linkedin.com/military. That's the resource site that you can go to and get access to the different LinkedIn benefits, to include the free premium offering. You just fill out a quick form and you'll be able to get the coupon code that'll give you the free LinkedIn premium subscription. Like I said, just linkedin.com/military, and it's got all these great resources that are there for you for free. So take advantage of that. And then I will show you as we go through this, the difference between a typical LinkedIn profile membership and the LinkedIn Premium membership and those benefits that you get. So I'd like to start this off on just like, what is LinkedIn? And did you know that 9 out of 10 employers are using LinkedIn in the hiring process? So LinkedIn is a business-to-business product. We sell LinkedIn to employers so that their recruiters can find and hire talent. And so what I want for you all today is to learn how to use LinkedIn to connect to opportunity, whether that's building your network, learning from all of our learning resources, or just maintaining your network. So connecting to people that you've already, or reaching out to people that you're already connected to, or whatnot. All of those activities will help you become more discoverable by employers if you are in the market for a new opportunity. So like I was saying, LinkedIn is being the opportunity marketplace. There's two groups. There are groups of people who are looking for opportunities. So think job seekers. They're on LinkedIn to either build their career or to find a new opportunity. And then there's people that have opportunity and they're looking for people to give it to. Think employers and recruiters. We just crossed the threshold of over 1 billion members globally. There's 60 million different companies and organizations like yours, your organization on LinkedIn currently, and a lot of those organizations have opportunity. We've got 5 million jobs that are available currently on LinkedIn. I think 250, last time I checked a week ago, 250,000 of them are remote jobs. So we know that the military community is 4 times more likely to seek out remote work. So there's a lot of remote jobs available on LinkedIn. 180 connections made every second. So there's a lot of people that are connecting to people and connecting to that opportunity that I've already spoken about. And then 6 members are hired every minute, which is people connecting to jobs through LinkedIn Jobs. One of the questions I get often from the military community is, or comments I get is that, one, they don't want another social network, or two, that it's not safe. But LinkedIn has been consistently the most trusted social network of all the social networks. And one of that is really because we have really high community standards and making sure that people are creating a professional environment, but also that people's information is protected. I'll go into it a little bit more as we go along, but we have really robust privacy settings so that people can adjust the privacy settings that are going to be best suited for them. But it's important to know and to establish that LinkedIn is known for being the most trusted social network. And it's a great place to be able to come and as a professional to connect to opportunities or to share the opportunities that you have. One of the things that I get often asked is, what's the difference between LinkedIn profile and a resume? And a resume is important. It's an important tool. We still use it a lot. A lot of employers or people who have opportunity ask for a resume. But the difference, I think the main difference is that the LinkedIn profile is always on, so it's discoverable. So for instance, if you have a resume, generally you complete your resume, and maybe you apply for a job and you submit the resume as part of that, or maybe you share your resume with a contact of yours or somebody in your network, and that's about as far as it goes. But if you build out your LinkedIn profile becomes more and more discoverable by people that aren't even inside of your network, recruiters, employers, and that allows opportunity to come and find you. And that's really what I want to show you today is how do you kind of change that to where more opportunities are coming your way, or how you can attract more opportunities. And so you can also go into more detail on your LinkedIn profile. There's more room. Instead of having a 4 or 5 page resume, you can use your LinkedIn profile to share not only your professional experience, but media. So if you've written an article or you've posted something, all kinds of different elements that you can share on your LinkedIn profile that you can't necessarily share with a resume. So the LinkedIn profile gives like a rounder view of your professional journey. And we're going to go into those details a little bit more. The first thing I want to talk about is just the profile fundamentals and why they're important. And we're going to talk about taking a great photo, writing a clear headline. I'll show you where that's at. Sharing a compelling summary. I'll talk about that. That's your About Me section. Updating your experience areas and why that's important. And then adding skills and why that is really, really important. First, we'll get started with taking a great photo. So adding a photo to your profile is really important. The if you don't add your profile photo, it just leaves like this gray silhouette. And we want to try to get away from leaving the gray silhouette because it makes the profile feel dormant. And if it feels dormant, then people are less likely to connect or reach out in general. So people who have a profile for photo get 21 times more views and 9 times more connection requests. So we know that a photo is a very important element of a person's profile. So things to just to be aware of, make sure that the background's not distracting. Sometimes when photos are taken outside and there's some stuff in the background, then or it's really bright in the background, then people will get distracted by whatever's in the background. So like this photo right here, what I like about it is that it shows a good example of having the face be featured in the majority of the photo. And then what I really like is that she's authentic and she's like friendly. It has a friendly smile and it's welcoming. So like when people come to your profile, they feel more welcome. And then one thing to note is to dress for the job that you want or the job that you're really you're just like signaling that you have. So for instance, what that would look like, I talk to a lot of transitioning veterans. And so you probably want to avoid wearing, using your bio photo, for instance, right? If you're going to get a job, say in banking, or you're going to get a job in what could be in tech, and really want to dress the part that really helps the person that has the opportunity to envision you in the workplace. So if I was applying for a role in tech, I probably wouldn't be wearing a suit and tie that's super formal. But if I was applying for a job in banking or consulting or something like that, where the industry is a little bit more formal, I wouldn't have my profile photo be with me in a hoodie or something less formal. So just making sure that you're dressing for the job that you want or that you have. And again, probably not when you want to bypass using the military bio photo, especially if the bio photo is of you kind of mean mugging the camera, which is exactly what I did in my final bio photo leaving the Air Force. It's not good. I would never use it. It would scare any recruiter away. I don't know why they tell us not to smile in those photos, but that's definitely what I did. All right. So writing a clear headline, this is really important, and I'll show you why here in a moment. So I'm going to flip to my profile. So if I go to my browser and then I view my profile, the headline is this piece that's right underneath your photo. You can see my name, and then I'm just going to highlight this. So that's the headline. So the headline is the area that is really going to share what your professional identity is. So here I have my title at LinkedIn because that's important. That's a lot of people search me out specifically by my title. And then I share some other elements of what my professional identity is. So this is the area that I'm talking about. This area is really, really important. For one big reason is that the way that LinkedIn's algorithm works, so if somebody's searching for talent, is it uses different elements of the LinkedIn profile, and some areas are weighted more heavily in the search results than others, the headline being one of the biggest. So for instance, if you're a project manager, you would want to put some sort of like project manager language in your headline, like senior project management professional or project management professional or something like that, because the headline is really heavily weighted in LinkedIn's algorithm. I'll show you that in here in just a little bit. So like I was saying, it's basically answers the question of like, what is it that you do? It doesn't need to be very long like mine is, just a few words to describe what it is that you do or what it is that you are looking to do next. It helps recruiters or people visiting your profile either confirm you are the person who they were looking for or know a little bit more about you. And then I would just avoid any phrases like transitioning veteran or student veteran, because those phrases are not something that somebody who is searching to give opportunities, like a recruiter generally isn't using those phrases to find talent. And so it just takes up some really valuable real estate. And so want to avoid using those type of phrases. I'll show you here in just a moment how the headline actually is really important inside of our recruiter tool, which I'll show you in just a second. The next thing is sharing a compelling summary. So this is the About Me section. So this falls under, if I just scroll down my profile a little bit, this is the About Me section. You just click this little pencil and you can write more about what you're thinking. When you have premium, if you have a premium subscription, you can help, AI can help you write it. So you can kind of like start to write it and then it'll help make some suggestions. But your About Me section is where you can share a summary of your professional journey up until this point. This is really important as well, because this is one of those pieces that a resume really can't do. And I think that this is important because what it does is it helps people get to know you a little bit more. I often get asked specific questions about my About Me section, so I know that recruiters or other people are reading it. But this is another great way for you to showcase where you've been, some of your key interests. You can also highlight some of the top skills, but also maybe where you want to go next. So for instance, like I'm a social impact professional, but maybe I want to move into more of a business development role. That's something that I would add into here, so that just people who were coming to my profile would know that's the professional journey that I'm on currently. The more words that you use, the better. In throughout their profile, I'll show you why that makes more sense here in just a second. All right, updating your work experience. You want to make sure that you update your work experience. And when you're doing that, you want to make sure that the logo of the company is showing up on the profile as well. No gray stuff. If it's a gray building, you want to make sure that you get the right organization on there. Updating your experience is a great opportunity to help yourself become more discoverable. Again, 5 times more connection requests, 8 times more profile views. Just having this information really brings a lot of traffic to your LinkedIn profile. So for instance, if you were, well, you probably were in the Army, mostly everybody in the Navy, but if you were in the Army, and you didn't have the branch signaled correctly, you'd get this gray building. You definitely want to avoid this as much as you can, because if you don't signal the correct organization or military branch, then the filter that recruiters use to search for talent won't be able to find you, because the organization is not being displayed correctly, as this person's was not. This person, our friend, Mr. Stan McChrystal, if he had represented it correctly on his profile, he would have the Army logo show up correctly. So that's really important. So I'll show you on mine what I'm talking about. So here's my Air Force experience. You see that there's the correct Air Force logo. I also have the years that are chronological, and they join, and so it shows like this career progression. If I didn't have the information displayed correctly, it would just be that gray box that we saw before. We want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Now, before I move on, what I want to show you is a hack that I've done in my profile that is really important. I was mentioning how in your headline, saying the words of your professional identity are very important. The more words that you use are going to help opportunity be able to find you. It's important to put your skills in here as much as possible. So you'll see that in my profile, I have written like what it is I do in my day-to-day. Some of the bullets that I've put are some of the projects I've delivered since I've been at LinkedIn or in this role. And then I put my relevant skills and I list them like over and over and over again. And then in my other roles at LinkedIn, I do the same thing. I just keep listing the relevant skills over and over again. So you see it here. And then in my first role at LinkedIn, you see it here. Now I'm going to show you why that's really, really important. So this is the recruiter tool. This is the tool that we sell to businesses to find and hire talent. So I'm going to start a new search like I was a recruiter searching for talent. So if I go to recruiter, I'm going to search for a project manager. And let's see here in Atlanta. And what you'll see here is like that 1 billion members that I told you about. If I just take out like Atlanta, you'll see like it basically will it reduces that 1 billion members to 3 million that are open to work. So there's 12 million, sorry, there's 12 million results. You can see that right here. Obviously, that's way too many results for a recruiter to get through. So they keep adding information on that left bar to be able to narrow down this population of people who fit the whatever it is that they're looking to hire for, whatever role it is. Again, so I'm just going to do Atlanta and see how this number just keeps ticking. It keeps getting smaller and smaller. Now we're at 91,000 results and 24,000 open to work. Open to work is something that you can signal on your LinkedIn profile that you're open to new opportunities. So say you have a job, but you're open to people reaching out to you about maybe a different opportunity. You can signal that as well. And then across the top of this is basically how recruiters like funnel out different talent. So I'm going to add some more. So this is going back to why adding skills and adding more information in your profile is really, really important. I'm just going to add leadership. And that's going to continue to narrow this down. So you remember in the beginning when I was talking about the headline and why it's really important to add your professional identity in the headline? See on Dontel's, like his headline says project manager. See how it's highlighted? And then in his experience section, it's senior project manager, project. Like recruiter is highlighting all this information, also a skills match leadership because it shows up in his profile. See project. So what it basically it's doing is that LinkedIn looked through all of that talent on LinkedIn. It narrowed down. I was looking for a project manager that lives in the Atlanta metro area and has leadership skills. How does it decide who to show first? Right? It's got to make some assumptions here about who to show first. And essentially what it's doing is it's showing him because he's hit on those areas that I've asked of recruiter multiple times. And the more project manager shows up in his profile, the higher he's going to raise in the ranking. So for instance, if I had project manager in my profile 15 times and Donald has it in his profile 25 times, he's going to rise higher in the rankings than I am because LinkedIn's algorithm, one, thinks that he's a better project manager than I am, or at least has more experience in it and is a better fit. And so that's how it works. So it's really important to make sure that throughout the profile, they're continuing to share what type of professional you are. I know that can get a little confusing, so I want to make sure I pause in case there's any questions on that before I move on. I'll check the chat too. I don't see any questions, but feel free to come off mute if you wish to ask. Okay.
This is excellent. I mean, who knew that all this was going on in the background? If you're just a LinkedIn novice, I think it's important that we get all of this incredible opportunity out to our membership across nationwide. I know we have a a small group of participants, but when the word gets out and we hang this on the video, I'm hoping that it just gets flooded with views. And I wanted to thank you again for man, this does so much stuff that you really had to do on your own. You know,
Yeah.
looking back in the day where you had your Rolodex and you made phone calls off of your Rolodex to your friends and
Yeah.
former COs and XOs and all of your former department heads, etc. I mean, this kind of is a one-stop shop, and that just if you know where to click, it just dumps information in your lap. But even more important, it pushes it out to folks that are hiring. I mean, this is excellent.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you even more. We're just getting started on how powerful it can be. So I just want to go back to my profile and show you what I was talking about before. So if I had project manager in my headline, that's where this is popping up. And then the project management part on the title is coming up from here, his title, and then also the fact that it's like in the relevant skills. So you want to keep adding it over and over and over again, or making sure that you have the right title, whatever your professional identity. It could be operations manager, it could be business development professional, it could be aviator, whatever it is. Make sure that it's showing up in your profile a lot. So why this is important? Couple of things I want to show you. So I've shown up in 827 recruiter searches in the last week because of the way my profile is built. So like it's driving a lot of traffic from how I have it, my profile built. That's a lot of opportunity that comes my way and something just to remember. And so this is the different words that are coming up that job titles that recruiters are using where I'm being found, and that's because I have it in my my profile a lot. But wanting to make sure that those skills and those like core elements of your profile are making it into this recruiter filter. Now we're gonna go even a little bit deeper here.
Well, it sounds to me though like there's an opportunity for some people to game the system and put keywords in there where they have absolutely no former experience and they really have never been a program manager, but they know that putting those words in there to be searched on would get them a look. But that's dangerous because when the hiring manager asks you, tell me about your project manager experience, you go, duh, well, okay, you're out of here.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, they definitely could. I think they'll be found out through the interview process. But yeah, I mean, they could try to game the system that way, but I don't think that would end well. Especially, I'd hope that they would get found out during the interview process, but
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
knows? Okay, so we've got this part. Now, the thing I want to show you is like, do you see this down here? This military veterans. The LinkedIn platform, you can recruiters who are looking to hire military talent, because a lot of employers are looking to hire military talent. We added this filter. So right now, if I go back up, we've got 42,000 results for a project manager. This is a very simple search, by the way. 42,000 results for a project manager living in Atlanta that has leadership skills, right? Like that's a pretty broad search. So I'm going to add this military filter to the platform. And this is going to get reduced very quickly. So now there's 2.3 thousand or 2,300 results here. 912 are open to work. So what this is this is some people can signal that they're open to work. I'll show you how to do that really quickly so that see this open to button at the bottom right here underneath my headline. You can open and finding a new job, or you could signal that you're hiring. So finding a new job, and then you can add in here, I'm open. So like for mine, I have open to on-site, hybrid. I leave mine open because like if somebody wants to, reach out to me and offer me $1 million a year, like I'm leaving LinkedIn tomorrow. So I leave mine open. And then on site, Portland, Oregon, because that's basically where I live full time. And you can you can add different elements. I'm actively looking, I'm flexible to this. That's what it's saying, is that you're just signaling to the opportunity network that you are open to work. So that's what that 912 is, right? Because a recruiter's job is to get butts in seats as quickly as possible. They're not going to look at 2,300 results. They're not going to look at 912, to be honest with you. They're going to start going down this funnel. If you kind of follow it here to the right, that's how it's shown up on your screen. So you got 380 active talent. That just means that of the 912, 380 of them are actively looking for new roles, and they've been logging on to LinkedIn fairly recently. 0, so rediscovered candidates is candidates who have applied or who've applied to LinkedIn, because you're seeing this as a view from a LinkedIn recruiter, because that's what my that's the company I work for. So the search that I have, it's not showing any that have already applied to LinkedIn. There's 0 internal candidates, but there are 246 that are interested in my company. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if you go to here, and we're just going to type in LinkedIn. And then I'm going to view LinkedIn's page. And so I'm following LinkedIn. So this is 246 people who are either following LinkedIn or they're interested in working at LinkedIn. Now, the other thing you can do is if you go to the About Me section and you scroll down, you could say, hey, I'm interested in working at LinkedIn. And now this shares my profile with the recruiting team at LinkedIn. And so I would end up in this little bucket right here of, let me take this out. Sorry, this gets a little. Selected, I'm interested in future roles at LinkedIn. So Christopher here. So of the 1 billion members, in a very short period, I put project manager in Atlanta that has leadership roles and is interested and has signaled specifically that he wants to work at LinkedIn, and 1 person came up. Of all the people, who do you think that the recruiter is going to reach out to? They're reaching out to Christopher for sure.
Yep.
So for instance, I would be interested in talking to people at Google, right? Me personally. So if I go to Google's page, right, and I've gone, I want to be in that bucket. So then if I go to the About Me section and I've already expressed interest in working at Google, I want to make sure that I'm in that bucket. And so that's what Christopher did. And Christopher, I guarantee you, is getting a call. And that's one way to like make yourself stand out from all of the rest, is to go to the companies that you're actually interested in working at. You can go to them, you do some research here on LinkedIn. You can, especially with your premium benefits, you can learn more about them that, that other folks won't have. So here's premium insights at Google. So you can learn like, how's Google growing? You can learn about like, what does their headcount look like by specific business unit? All kinds of information about Google. So do some research on some companies and find the ones that you like. It'll also tell you other companies you might want to consider, and then just put in there that you're interested in working for them, and that helps really make you stand out from the rest. All right. I want to quickly move on to the next piece, which is adding your education, license, and certifications. Same thing, adding this information into your profile, and then adding some information about like what you did, maybe the classes that you took and stuff like that. All of those words will really help in the recruiter search. Because like I said, a recruiter is gonna be looking at a lot of different people. And so they're going to add a lot more different skills like leadership. They're going to add like budget management, time management, all these different things on there. And the more of your skills that show up, the higher up their rankings you're going to go. So let's go budget management, time management, teamwork. So you'll see like as a recruiter will put like 25 skills in here, the more that show up, the more likely that they're going to come up to the top. So like skills match right here, leadership, budget management, time management, that's really helping move her up in this search result. So again, going back to like the education piece, you want to make sure that you're using that area well. You don't want to just put like, graduated from XYZ university and just leave it at that. You want to add a little bit more information about it. The other thing I'll say is that I wouldn't add any licenses or certifications that aren't relevant to the role that you want or to the industry you're, because it adds noise. It attracts opportunity to you that won't have the types of opportunities that you're looking for. So like a good example is like people who were in the military that were like firefighters, or maybe they were police officers, or maybe they were medics or something like that, and they don't want anything to do with that in the civilian workforce. Maybe they want to be an accountant, or they want to go into banking, and those roles they got certifications in the military while they're performing those roles. And if those certifications aren't relevant anymore in the new role, then it can just become noise and it's taking up valuable real estate. So you want to make sure that you're putting in the information in there that is relevant to the career that you are currently in and you want to grow in, or the industry or role that you want to break into. If you have if you don't have experience in an area, then volunteer experience can help. So for instance, say that you were this firefighter or police officer and you're trying to get into an accounting role now that you separated from the military, maybe being a treasurer or something for a nonprofit organization or a club or something like that can help to where you're able to use that experience to start to build out your experience in this career pivot that you're taking. If that's the case, then I would encourage you to add it to your volunteer experience so that it can be discoverable in that recruiter search as well, because you want to use those keywords in there. And then the last thing is like adding your skills. So you have 50 opportunities to add your skills. So I'm going to go to my profile real quick. So here's the skills area. You can add 50 skills to your profile. You should add all 50 for the reasons that I just showed you. Is that as they start filling out this skills and assessments piece, the more skills that you match with, the higher up the rankings you're going to go. So the best way that I can describe it, if you go fishing and you have one fishing line in the water, you have one opportunity to catch a fish at a time. If you have 50 lines in the water, you have opportunity to catch 50 fish. So it's kind of the same way, as that you want as many skills to get caught up when you're hoping to catch opportunity. And so use all 50 of those skills. I guarantee every one of you on this call has 50 skills and more. Once you start getting started, because it'll make suggestions. Like if you put project manager, it'll say time management, leadership, blah, 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 blah. The hardest piece is going to decide which 50 you're going to pick for it to be featured in your skills area. So very much like your headline, which was what we started with, heavily weighted. As you can see here, it's highlighted. But the second most heavily weighted is your skills matches. As you can see down here. And so that's really important to make sure that you're building out all 50 of those skills. And then we talked about this already. Before I move on, any questions about the LinkedIn profile fundamentals? Okay, great. Let's talk a little bit about building your network. So 50% of hires result from a personal connection. this is really interesting, and this is why networks are really important, and this is why we need to help the military community get connected to LinkedIn and start building their network as early as possible. We did a research study recently, and what we found, we had an assumption. Our hypothesis is that people are getting connected to they're getting opportunities from their first degree network. So people that they are connected to. So first degree is like, who are the people that are on your LinkedIn profile that are on LinkedIn that you are connected to, first degree? That was our assumption, is that's where opportunity comes from. You're getting connected by somebody that's already in your network. We actually found that is not the case. The majority of people get connected to opportunity by their second degree connections. So connections of the people that they're connected to, without trying to get too complicated here. But essentially what it is, it's like if I went to Donald and was like, hey, Donald, I really like the company that you work for, the organization that you work for. Do you have a project management job open that you can help me get connected to? The timing just generally doesn't work out that way. And what Donald would end up doing is be like, probably, no, I don't have one, but my colleague has a job opportunity, or my friend over at this other organization that's really great, you should connect to them, or I'll connect you to them and you can learn about an opportunity. Or I could post on LinkedIn, hey, I'm looking for a project management job, and Donald could turn around and share that, and then somebody and that will go out to his network, and somebody in his network would reach out to me. That's where the magic happens, is actually in this second degree area. And so making sure that, so as people build out their network, their first degree network, that second degree network obviously gets really big, and it becomes the network effect, where that's where a lot more opportunity starts to flow people's ways. So it's really important to continue to build out that network, and then so on and so on. So a great way to reach out to people in your network is just to send them a message. So I'll show you really quickly, because I know that we're running up on time, like how to find people that you may want to talk to. So going back to when I log into LinkedIn, this is what I see. If I wanted to find somebody to reach out to or to connect to, you can just search their name here, and go ahead and find them. So I'm going to search for, let's see here. Let's go with, I don't know, I'll just search for my wife. So that's my wife. If I was looking for her, then I would just search, and then I would just reach out to her and connect with her. We're already connected, so I don't need to do that. But that's because it just like, I used to work with Melissa. That's how we met. It was very scandalous, whatever. But if I wanted to reach out to her because she'd gotten out of the military and she was working at a company that I was interested in, then this is how I would do it. I would just search her name and reach out to her and connect. Or if you didn't know who you wanted to connect with, here's another great way. And I think one of the most powerful things about LinkedIn. So I just went to the search bar up here, and all I did, it's on my desktop, all I did is hit enter. And so it enters into this kind of generic search function. I'm going to click this button, people. And then I'm going to click all filters. And then it opens up this little thing on the side. So we know that you're 10 times more likely to get a job at a company if you get a referral when you apply. So let's say I want to work at Google. This is what I would do, is I would go current company. I would say Google. I'm looking for people that work at Google. And past company, I'm going to do, well, let's just do Navy, since we've got a lot of Navy folks on the call. Right? So I want to work at Google, but I want to see who already works at Google, who also used to be in the Navy. So I'm looking for Navy vets. And I'm just going to go show results. At Google, it returns 390 people, right? That's way too many for me to reach out to, but those are the people that I'm looking for. if I was in the Navy as well, and I wanted to connect with somebody that had a shared experience who works at Google and maybe wanted some help getting into Google. But since there's 390 people, that's too many. I'm going to go back to the all filters, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and title, I'm going to do, let's just say I'm a project manager. 8. It returns 8 people who are project management. They're either project managers or they have like some sort of project management experience working at Google. These are the folks that I would reach out to. I can definitely reach out to 8 people. And those are the people that I'd be like, hey, can I, I saw a role in project management at Google that I'm really interested in. I'd love to chat with you to learn more about Google and what might make me competitive for this role. What you'll find is that people are pretty responsive. The good news about LinkedIn is people want to help. It's just that people generally don't know how to. But if you reach out to them with a very quick note and a brief like ask of like, hey, would love some advice on this, you highly likely that they're going to respond. One of the things I learned is if you ask somebody for a job, they'll give you advice. If you ask somebody for advice, they'll give you a job. And so it's just really a great way to network into an organization and to talk to them. And heck, half the time, whatever role it is that you're looking at, it might be somebody, you might be able to find the hiring manager or somebody that's on the team that is hiring. So this is just a really great way to build your network and then to network your way into an organization.
But there's a great question in the chat from Captain
Yeah.
Chen. He says, is there such a thing as too many connections? He says, I often connect with others based on common connections. Is that a bad thing?
I don't think so. So for instance, if you're really active on LinkedIn and say that you are, you're posting a lot. So if you post stuff on LinkedIn, posting on LinkedIn is a really great way to attract attention as well. That's a bit out of scope for this presentation, but every time you post something, it goes out to your network. So if you have 500 people, it goes out to 500. If you have 5,000, it's going out to that 5,000 and just creates more opportunity for people to interact. So, I mean, if you might not know them all that well, but if you are wanting to cast a wider net because that makes sense for what you're trying to do with the platform, then go for it. And if somebody becomes inappropriate, or you decide later that you don't know that connection or that connection's no longer of value, then you can remove that connection if you'd like. Good question, though.
Yeah.
I already showed you how to discover new connections through the search, which is really important. And then what I was just mentioning is like just send a quick note on what it is that you're trying to achieve here. A few more minutes, but I want to make sure I get to a couple of things for you. One is that premium offer. So the premium offer that you can go to linkedin.com/military and get. The things that you would have access to is you'd have access to 20,000 LinkedIn learning courses. They're all free. The LinkedIn learning courses are amazing. I use it every single day. Today I was learning about like how do you like role create. So like as you're in a job, like how do you start to craft the role for the role that you want next? Or how do you, instead of getting a new job, how do you make the job serve you better from where you're at today? So lots of stuff that you can learn on LinkedIn Learning, everything from like PowerPoint basic skills to how to deal with a difficult colleague. I think I've watched that LinkedIn Learning course like 14 times. But there's just a lot of stuff on there that you can check out. You can also, as you saw a little bit, you can optimize your profile with some AI features. The AI features are getting more and more powerful, which just are more and more helpful. For instance, like you can go into the skills part and be like, I want to be a business development professional, and it'll look at your profile and it scans profiles of other business development professionals and it shows kind of the gaps and it's like, okay, this is what's really good. This is what you can build upon from being a business management or like a business development person. These are the things that you'd want to go and learn. And so just very helpful to be able to have a tool that will show you how to do that. You'll see who's viewed your profile, which is helpful to see like what kinds of recruiters, what kinds of traffic is coming to your profile. If you're seeing a lot of recruiters that look like that they're recruiting for, a fire department, then you probably have something on there that, and you don't want to be a firefighter, you probably have some things on there you might want to change, and some other things you might want to highlight. Unlimited search. So I showed you that search to find people. You can do that an unlimited amount of times. I showed you the insights that you can gain on like a company. You getting insights on jobs too, like where you rank in certain terms of like your skills, like how many of your skills fit that job in comparison to other people that have applied for that job. The open profile, which I showed you, the open to work. And you have in-mails that you can send to people that aren't in your network. That's really, really helpful. And then, like I said, job application insights and more on that. If you want to, if you get LinkedIn Premium, if you scan this code, you can attend LinkedIn Premium virtual programming. It's all free. That shows you how to use your premium benefit to the best that it offers. So I encourage you to, if you're interested in learning more about using your premium benefit, then definitely scan this and take a look at that. And then I will leave you with two more things I want to show you really quickly. The first is I want to go back to, I'm going to move this, the LinkedIn Learning. So this is the LinkedIn Learning that you get for free. Here, this is the AI powered coaching. I want to be a business development person. But basically we have, there's just military transition, all these military transition courses too. So if you go here, there's like a learning path. We built a learning path for student veterans. We built a learning path for military spouses. And then we built this learning path for the military community as well. Let's see here. So this transition from military to civilian employment, and basically it's just all these different courses that you can take, everything from figuring out what it is that you want to do next, all the way to negotiating your job offer, strategies in your first 90 days, accelerating your career, all these different courses that are really great, available to you for free with your LinkedIn Premium offering. The last thing is LinkedIn.
So that offering is good for 1 year?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah. So if somebody were to buy it retail, it's worth $539.99, and it's free. You don't have to add a credit card or anything like that. It just automatically upgrades you. Then the other thing you get access to is this LinkedIn interview prep tool, which is really cool. Basically, it helps you walk through common questions that you will find in an interview. So tell me about yourself. That seems pretty common, but there is a good way to answer this. So it gives you a framework of how to do it. And it even allows you some tips. It even allows you to practice. You can record yourself answering the question. And if you want, it'll give you instant AI feedback, and it'll tell you like, hey, your answer was really long, or your vocal tone, you're too quiet, or you're speaking too fast. You have too many filler words. So like all this information that's really good. Oftentimes I get asked, well, what's the one skill that military people need when to be successful in the civilian market? If I had to pick one skill that I wish the military community mastered, it'd be interviewing, because then they could get the jobs that they want. And so this is the tool that can help people excel at interviewing. So like I said, it's got all the 26 common questions. They're really, really good. I actually used this tool when I interviewed for my graduate degree program, because they were asking the same kind of questions. And so I used that to practice before I went into my MBA interviews. The other things that you can do is that it's got these categories. If you hit categories, there's all these different kind of like generic jobs, account executive, accountant, business analyst, which is kind of like consulting, corporate finance, customer success manager, which is sales, project manager, marketing manager. So if I do like project manager, now it's offering 15 common questions that project managers have. And then again, it gives you sample answers, some tips and some frameworks to answer a question about what's your leadership style. Tell me about a time when things didn't go as planned. Like these are questions that are often asked in interviews. How do you go about answering them well? And so these are really great ways to kind of practice through what you would say. So when you went into an interview, you would be prepared. And really, you just need to be slightly more prepared than the next person in order to get the job. So that's what I have for you today. Would love to open it up for any questions that you might have.
Wow, excellent, just tremendous. We have got to push this link out to the NNOA website for everybody that doesn't have a premium account, or I mean, that's just as obvious as it can get to get one of those. Okay, someone asked to put up the barcode again in the chat.
Oh, yep, I'll do that.
Is the military premium offering only open to active duty or to dependents as well?
It's open to military spouses and
Service member?
service member, yeah.
Okay. I'm sure this is just a, how can you say no? A $500 offer.
Yeah, I'll do, let me go in here real quick. I'm gonna just pop.
Since we're recording, I'm sure you could probably, when on the playback, the code will be there as well.
And then I want to add, let's see here. So I'm just adding this stuff in there so you can connect to those links directly.
Oh, perfect.
But yeah, this is for the LinkedIn Premium virtual program. This is really good. So like the LinkedIn Premium team hosts these free virtual like courses, kind of like what I'm doing right now, but how to use the premium benefit. They go into a lot more detail. It's awesome. Like premium is extremely powerful. I used premium to get into school when I got out of the military. I used premium to get my first job, like to get an internship while I was going to school for my undergrad. And then to get my first job, I used it again to get my second job. And then I ultimately used it to get my job at LinkedIn, which is kind of odd. But I've used it throughout my career, and it has absolutely connected me to opportunity. And that's what I really want to share with the community is how powerful that can be. But even if you don't have premium, LinkedIn still is extremely powerful in if continue to invest in building out the profile.
And I can attest, having used LinkedIn Premium as well during my transition. But I really appreciate you taking the time tonight. And like I said, one of the things that I found that was very powerful was just helping people understand what's happening on the back end, from the recruiter standpoint, and how you can help yourself, because a lot of the challenges that I don't necessarily know what I want to do next, right? And so this could help for those opportunities to present themselves to you, that you consider and think, that seems pretty interesting. So that's why I find myself working for a nonprofit.
Yep. Yeah, and I think if you do get the premium, one of the let's go back to here we go. Like if you are kind of struggling with what you want to do next, we do have like these courses in here in the LinkedIn Learning Path that helps people kind of like flush that out. And I would say is that people don't need to like know exactly what they want to do next, but if you can get kind of like directionally in that way, desires change over time. And so like going back to these courses and kind of thinking through this stuff really helps kind of, jog the memory and think of things that are, different and that you might not have ever considered. I often tell there's a veteran that I love that's at our local golf course. He retired and he became the person that basically sits on the first tee and makes sure that people gets off on time. And I just love that it like was his like encore career, is like, you know, retired out of the military after 20 years, and now he just sits in shorts on the golf course. And I'm like, well, you've got it figured out. I mean, and you
I
know, just
took my dream job. That's what I wanted to do my whole life.
yeah. And
Get,
it's like, I'm
get
like, I
free
mean,
golf and iced tea
yeah.
at the pair, man. That's a great
Yeah,
job.
that's it. And I was like, wow, I mean, that's really opening the aperture of like the world of possibilities. But people were like, I got to get into corporate America and I got to do all this stuff. Or, you know, or I had a buddy that got out and he was really into basketball. And I was like, why don't you go work for the NBA? And that's what he actually ended up working for the WNBA. But I was like, yeah, go get as close to it as you possibly can. And he's happy as hell. So it's like things that, you know, people I think get kind of, they're trying to go what like maybe society says they should do, and they should really just follow what their passions are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, this was wonderful.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
All right. If there are questions, like if people end up having questions after this, or you're watching the recording, like feel free to reach out to me. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. So go ahead and reach out and I'm happy to get back to you.
Good stuff. Thanks again, Corey.
Yeah, of course. All
Awesome.
right.
Biscuit, you get the last word.
All right. Yeah. So again, this is, you know, one of the values of the team and putting these fireside chats together, creating these opportunities because, you know, one of the takeaways for me is that it's not necessarily that first connection, but the importance of the network, and to the extent that we can build out our primary, and then that's where the opportunities will present themselves in that secondary connection. So to the extent that we can help people as they, you know, continue on their journey, I appreciate you taking the time this evening, and you know, looking forward to this thing kind of being posted and see what kind of return on opportunity that we get, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, if there's enough interest, maybe we'll reach out and see if you can come to the Tidewater area at the end of July.
That'd be awesome. Well, thanks everyone. And thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. I enjoyed being here.
All right.
Thank you. All right. See ya.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Good evening.
Bye.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.